Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero podcast, a show where I cover the least in the best way possible. I'm your host, Jason Wells. Today is Friday, January 3rd, officially the last week of the NFL season. And unfortunately, for many of us, this is going to be the last time we watch our teams play football until the start of the 2025 season. Again, I got slim hopes I might get one more game. At the end of the day, does it really matter? Not really. We'd have to go up to Buffalo if we win anyways, and we all know how that one's going to go. But a weird Week 18. A lot of starters are sitting. We'll talk about the teams that actually have something to play for and the playoff implications. Some matchups don't matter whatsoever other than just kind of draft positioning. So this episode will be the final week preview of the season. A little bit of an NFL weekly update. Not a lot of news to really cover, even though I missed last week's NFL weekly update. Still not really a lot to go over, but we'll talk about that. Again, a little more draft stuff. I am going to talk about what happened in the college football playoffs in the quarterfinal, because there were some decent games. There were some decent games anyways, but I guess let's just get into it. Let's get into the final preview of the season here, but we will start off with the NFL weekly update. The Pro Bowl rosters have been announced, and as always, people are upset. People are, this guy got snubbed. How dare they? It's the Pro Bowl. It's never that serious, but a couple notable snubs anyways. We have Kirby Joseph leading the league in interceptions. He didn't make it. Again, the NFC safeties right now are Budda Baker, Brian Branch, his own teammate, and then, I'm forgetting someone really important, and I should remember. I'm mad that I don't know who the other safety is now, and now I have to search it up because I'm embarrassed about not remembering. Goddamn, how don't I remember? I should have had this pulled up. Xavier McKinney, who's also, again, having a terrific season. Yes, should Kirby Joseph have made it? Probably, but, again, it's a fan vote. It is what it is. No Zach Seiler for the Dolphins. He's having a great year. Do I think he should have made it over Namadi Matabuke for the Ravens? I do. He's having a much worse season than he did last year, but I digress. BTJ didn't make it, even though he is second in the AFC for receiving yards. Guys that made it over him: Zay Flowers, Jerry Jeudy, Nico Collins. All of them had great seasons, but should BTJ probably have made it? Yeah. James Cook doesn't make it, and I think he has 15 rushing touchdowns on the season right now. Joe Mixon makes it in ahead of him. That's a little questionable. Jonnu Smith doesn't make it, but when only two tight ends make it from the AFC, and Brock Bowers is one of them, Travis Kelce being the other, hard to slot in there. So while Jonnu Smith is deserving, so are those other two guys. No Baker Mayfield, the NFC quarterbacks, Goff, Darnold, and Jaden Daniels. Again, all three of those guys deserving. Baker also definitely deserving. But again, when you can only carry three quarterbacks, this is what happens. And then, on the edge side for the AFC, no Danielle Hunter, no Will Anderson. Those both don't really make any sense to me. And part of the reason why this annoys me too is because we still haven't just gone with edge as a classification yet. It's still defensive end, and it's still outside linebacker. And what a shock that all the defensive ends and all of the outside linebackers are all edge players. This has been kind of a thing with the voting that I've never understood for years now, and it's still the case where, again, all of those guys deserving, and actually that's not true, because Khalil Mack, don't know how he made the Pro Bowl. That's one of the glaring additions where I'm like, seriously, Khalil Mack? Khalil Mack is great. Khalil Mack is probably going to be definitely a future Hall of Famer. Had a 17 sack season last year. Right now he has 6. Doesn't deserve to make the Pro Bowl at all, especially over a guy like Danielle Hunter, like Will Anderson. Doesn't make much sense to me. No Trent McDuffie, who's obviously awesome as well. And then, yeah, for the guys that make it, I just said Khalil Mack. Joe Mixon, I don't really understand. He had a great start to the year, but he's kind of faded over the last second half, and injuries do play into that. But again, James Cook is having a much better season than Joe Mixon. Namadi Matabuke, again, he had a terrific season last year. He's still having a good season, but I don't think he really deserved the nod. And then a guy like Rashawn Gary on the Packers, who he made it. I don't know why he made it. He's having a good, fine season. Is it up to Rashawn Gary's standards? Absolutely not. But this is the Pro Bowl. It's a popularity contest. It really does not matter at the end of the day. It's a flag football competition now. Yeah, the Pro Bowl's the Pro Bowl. There's going to be snubs. I should mention Gonzo as a snub as well. But again, the AFC corners were Pat Surtain, Stingley, Denzel Ward, and I'm forgetting the other guy, and Marlon Humphrey. All 4 of those guys deserve it. Gonzo in his second year, again, he'll get more buzz as his name gets out there more, and he's awesome, but again, it's just another snub. Snubs happen, but we can keep moving on from the Pro Bowl vote now. We got some good news from some NFC East playoffs teams here. We're getting guys back from injury. Dallas Goedert is returning from IR, obviously not playing this week, but should be there for a playoff run, which is big for the Eagles. And then the Commanders are getting back Austin Eckler. One of the better kick returners in the league, I should add. Austin Eckler was really good in this new format. But, yeah, Austin Eckler coming back. That run game's definitely dipped off a little bit with him being out, and he will be a welcome addition for the Commanders and their playoff run. Next note here, Ezekiel Elliott asks for a release from the Cowboys so he can go ring chasing, essentially. He was cut. He was not picked up on waivers, which, of course, but who would want Ezekiel Elliott? Really, he was like the 3rd string running back on the Cowboys. Cowboys running backs aren't that good. Rico Dowdle's had a great season, yes, but Cowboys running backs aren't that great in general, and I don't know who would want to just tack on Zeke to the bottom of their roster because, again, running backs are a dime a dozen. Zeke is a name, but other than that, he's not really giving you much, so I'd be interested to see if anyone picks him up at this point. Injuries happen, and if some depth injury to running backs happen, then maybe he'll get picked up, but we'll see. Teddy Bridgewater back in the league. Just a week after saying that, yeah, he wants to come back. The Lions brought him back to be their 3rd string QB, because I think if things were to go wrong, Hendon Hooker would be that guy, but yeah. This just kind of confirms to me that I thought Teddy Bridgewater was going to have to wait till the offseason, and the fact that he was just like, no, I can come back now, and the Lions brought him in for a tryout, and we're like, yeah, you're still good enough, we'll sign you to the active roster, or sign him to the team anyways, don't know about active roster-wise, but that means that he's going to be in the league next year, and an NFL with Teddy Bridgewater still in the league is a good one. Last 2 notes here, some college coaching. Michael Vick becomes the head coach of Norfolk State. His only prior coaching experiences, he was the offensive coordinator for the Atlanta Legends of the USFL in 2019. I think that was the league that it was. Either way, one of those spring football leagues that have been getting relatively bigger, but that was kind of the first iteration of this one. So that's his only coaching experience. And hey, I don't think it's a bad thing for getting someone like Michael Vick, and I think Norfolk State promised a lot of NIL money if they can really get the program going, and it's tempting, interesting to see what he can do. And the other hire here is Deshaun Jackson is now coaching Delaware State, an HBCU program. Again, another great former NFL player going into the coaching ranks. And his only coaching experience was he was the high school offensive coordinator for whatever high school, and now he's a head coach. He said he always wanted to coach at an HBCU. Now he gets that chance. D-Jack's still not even in his 40s yet, so a very young head coach. But again, a lot of players would want to play for former NFL stars, so I can see what Norfolk State and what Delaware State are doing. Be interested to see if it works, but we got some former NFL guys in the college ranks. And that's kind of it for the NFL Weekly Update. It was, again, not a ton's been happening. We're gearing up for the playoffs here. I will talk quickly about these college football playoffs and just the games that have happened most recently. I guess I kind of have to start off with the attack that happened in New Orleans on January 1st. Obviously, the Notre Dame Georgia game was postponed to tonight, which is Thursday, but awful incident. So yeah, just brutal, so sad. Hopefully everyone is okay mentally and physically, and obviously people passed away, but just a terrible incident. No, we'll start off with the first quarterfinal matchup that happened. It was Penn State versus Boise State, and Penn State just kind of put a whoop into them. And I'll take that back a little bit. It was closer than I think people might have thought it would, and especially with how the game started. Oh, I went way too far back here. Those are the first, or am I not far enough? The score does a fun thing where, actually, I can just go top 25 and it'll pop up, right? Yes. There we go, yeah. Yeah, 31-14 for Boise State. It was close for a little bit. Boise State had their chances to kind of get back into it, but just couldn't get it going, couldn't get Ashton Jeanty going. And Jeanty's numbers, while the box score isn't great, 30 carries, 104 yards, and then he had 3 catches for 22 yards. I think 74 of those yards came after contact. Like, Penn State was stacking the box against him and forcing Boise State to throw the ball. Ashton Jeanty's still awesome. He had a few breakaway runs, but yeah, Penn State on the other side. I talked about Drew Aller being potentially my QB1 for this draft class if he would have declared. He says he's going back to school, but I said with a good playoff process and draft process, it would not shock me if he would change his mind. And he started off great in the first half, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, let's stop rushing the ball and have Aller kind of hit his spots and show off like the wow arm that he does have. And then they just relied on him passing way too much. Obviously, again, I like what I see from Drew Aller. I think it's similar. Obviously, Josh Allen did not play with the similar players that Aller is playing with at Wyoming, but that's kind of the progression that I see with Aller, is he could be that Josh Allen where it's like the accuracy isn't there, but you can see the arm talent, and it's putting it together. Accuracy is one of the hardest things to teach, but Drew Aller's looking good. Tyler Warren is awesome. I talked about him being one of my top 15 players of the draft class so far. My number 1 tight end, 6'6", 260, big, just again, a very good blocker, a big yak guy. Like, he can get open. Is his separation great? No, but he's 6'6", 260. He can box some people out. He is a very good athlete. He's a ton of fun, and he's huge. 6'6", 260, and moving like that as a tight end. Very, very impressive from him. We'll go on to some of these other quarterfinal games here. Texas 39, Arizona State 31. Game went to double overtime. Texas kicker, forget his name, but he had a great head of hair, missed 2 key kicks that would have won them the game. They eventually go to overtime. I'll talk about that targeting call because I don't know what targeting is. I don't think anyone really knows what targeting is because they're so wishy-washy on what they do with it, and this one seemed like a clear as day targeting call, like, because sometimes it can get iffy if, like, the receiver or the ball carrier, like, lowers their head and the guy's trying to go, like, chest area, but the guy dips his head and then they smack heads, and then it's like, it's iffy, and it's hard to call targeting when the guy's also lowering his head. But this was, I don't know, clear as day. The receiver caught it, kind of turned around, and the Texas defender just like helmet straight to helmet. I don't know, again, I don't know why you would try to tackle someone that way. It was really stupid to tackle them that way, but no targeting, and that essentially won Texas the game. I think it would have put Arizona State in close to field goal position with not a lot of time left, but I digress. Quinn Ewers is whatever. Cam Skattebo is the real story of the day for Arizona State. 30 carries, 143 yards for 2 touchdowns, added 8 catches for 99 yards, and also was 1-for-1 passing for 42 yards and a touchdown. Cam Skattebo can do it all. Very interested to see his draft process where he plays out, but he is just such a strong, powerful runner. Yeah, his balance is great. His hands are great. He is truly like a do-it-all back, and someone will take him in the mid-rounds, definitely. And then, yeah, the final game of the day, Ohio State versus Oregon. Ohio State 41, Oregon 21. Ohio State just absolutely whooped them. They whooped them from the start. It wasn't even close. I think it was 34-8 going into halftime. I think that sounds right. And Ohio State's performance was off the back of true freshman Jeremiah Smith, who people have turned or have used the term generational, I think, a little too much recently, but Jeremiah Smith is generational. I saw someone tweet out, he's like, if you missed Julio Jones playing at Alabama, this is basically what it looked like. And for someone who wasn't really watching college football when Julio was at Bama, it's nice to know that this is what it looked like. 7 catches, 187, 2 TDs. Again, he's a true freshman, 6'3", 215. He has great size. Jeremiah Smith would be wide receiver 1 in this draft class, but unfortunately he has 2 more years of playing in college before he gets to declare, and he's going up another really, really, really fucking good prospect in Ryan Williams, who's also started as a true freshman at Bama. Already excited, way too excited for the 2027 draft. 2027 draft class. That sounds right. Yeah, the 2027 draft class. It's already shaping up to be a good one, but yeah, Jeremiah Smith is an absolute stud. Yeah, Oregon, it's just bad. Very, very bad. But I guess let's get right into this final NFL preview of the season. Week 18, and we'll start off with the 2 Saturday games here. Browns at Ravens. Ravens minus 19. Total set at 41.5. So the reason that the Ravens are the first game of the week is because they technically still have something to play for. If they lose and the Steelers were to win, the Steelers would, I think, win that division. I think some other things have to break their way, but like the Ravens technically have something to play for. Do I think that all of their starters will be pulled by halftime? I do. I think that the lead is going to be that big where at halftime most of the Ravens backups will be in. So maybe Browns plus 19, because I don't see Harbaugh unless it stays a close game. But again, with DTR starting, that's just not happening because he just can't push the ball down the field whatsoever. So with DTR starting, I'm expecting Lamar, Henry, Zay, Andrews likely. Like I expect all of those guys to be out by halftime. So maybe the Browns make it close when those backups go in. And again, 19 is a crazy number. And 19 where I don't expect the Ravens to start all of those guys. I do obviously expect the Ravens to win this one. But minus 19 is one of the highest spreads I have seen in an NFL game. So that's absolutely crazy. And then the Saturday night game, which has very, very big draft implications here. Bengals at Steelers. Bengals minus 2.5. Total set at 48.5. Mike Tomlin is a home underdog. He's usually pretty good in those spots, and I wouldn't expect anything else in this one. The Steelers haven't had some great performances recently, and this seems like a big moment for them to really rise to the occasion, stop one of their rivals from potentially making it into the playoffs. Obviously, the Bengals have a lot of other things to do in general, but what the Steelers are playing for essentially is that wild card seeding, because again, we all expect the Ravens to win that final matchup against the Browns. So what the Steelers are playing for right now is they are the 5th seed, so they are that first wild card team, but the Chargers have the opportunity to pass them if they lose this one. So the Steelers are playing for that 5th seed to eventually play the Texans. And playing the Texans in a dome seems pretty damn nice if you're any wild card team, and because the other options are the Bills or the Ravens. And that's a tough task. That's a tough task for anyone, especially these wild card teams. So the Steelers are playing for that positioning. They want to secure that 5 seed. They want to go against the Texans to potentially win a playoff game, and then who knows from there. Bengals on the other side, they're obviously also playing for their playoff lives. They also need the Chiefs to beat the Broncos, and we'll talk about that game when we need to. But the Bengals have been great. Again, Joe Burrow, actually, and I say that, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins have been great. And now that I'm thinking about it also, Chase Brown, what is happening with Chase Brown? Working with trainers, wasn't practicing yesterday. He's iffy anyways, and if Chase Brown isn't good to go, that's just kind of another big loss for the Bengals. Again, potentially, but I like Mike Tomlin as an underdog in this one. The Steelers are also playing for something. They want to stay in that 5 seed. They're at home. The other thing that I should probably look up is Joey Porter Jr. Playing. Joey Porter, where are you? Okay, well, he's not listed on the injury report, so I assume that he's playing. And that is, again, it's another big addition to this defense. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, like that front 7 should tee off on this Bengals offensive line. I'm on the Bengals in this one, and just not because I have a rooting interest against the Bengals, because I do, but Mike Tomlin is a home underdog. This just seems like a good spot for him to win one. On to these Sunday games now. Giants at Eagles. Eagles -3, total set at 37.5. The Eagles still being 3-point favorites when they're not sitting anyone is just a very, very funny thing to me. This will be Drew Lock going against Tanner McKee, I think, because I think that Kenny Pickett's rib injury is significant enough, maybe. Let me check the injuries again, though. Kenny Pickett is questionable with ribs. He sat out of practice on Wednesday. I guess we'll see. I don't really know. But, yeah, the Eagles have already said they're benching their starter. So Jalen Hurts is just another week for him to get healthy. So, no Jalen Hurts. Saquon, who's only 100 yards away from breaking the NFL rushing record, isn't going to get it. And I understand it from some sense, whatever. You don't want him to get injured, but, like, he could have got 100 yards and a half. Like, I am more than sure that Saquon could have got his 100 yards and a half. Have that be that. It sucks that he doesn't have an opportunity to break it, but shout out to Eric Dickerson for one more year for keeping on to that award. Good for him, I guess. But yeah, the fact that I don't know who the Eagles are really starting. Like, if I go to look at the Eagles depth chart right now, it's like Kenneth Gainwell is going to be getting a bunch of snaps, I would imagine, but this is actually probably a good thing for me to pull up some teams' depth charts to see who their backups really are, because Jahan Dotson, who they traded a 3rd-round pick, good for him to get some snaps, I guess. Johnny Wilson, their big 6'7" wide receiver, he'll be out there. I trust their offensive line to be fine just because it's the Eagles' offensive line. On defense, they got some guys on defense who we like already, but, like, I don't know. They're 3-point favorites with their backups going against, again, the Giants are missing some guys, and obviously their roster isn't strong in general, but the Giants are playing their starters, like Tyrone Tracy, Malik Neighbors, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Bobby Okereke. those guys will all be playing. So, do I think the Giants are going to win? No, probably not. But, like, could I see them winning? Yeah, absolutely, because I don't know if I have faith in Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee throwing to Jahan Dotson and Johnny Wilson. That's just, I don't know, like, that doesn't sound great to me, where at least I can be like, okay, Drew Lock is throwing the neighbors, and he's throwing to Sladen and Wandale, and he has Tyrone Tracy. Like, that, I don't know, that just sounds better to me. It's going to be a weird week. There's a lot of these matchups where I have no idea what's really going to happen, but the Eagles have nothing to play for. The Giants also have nothing to play for other than draft positioning, but again, both whoever is on the field will be trying their hardest trying to win the game. So it'll be interesting. Next game up here, Bears at Packers. Packers minus 10, total set at 41.5. Another one of these games where the Bears out of the playoffs. They have nothing to play for other than pride, I guess, at this point. While the Packers also don't really have a lot to play for other than slight positional seeding, because if they were to lose and that the Commanders were to win their game, the Commanders would jump them in the wild card spots, and then instead of going to LA to play the Rams, I think that's what it is, it would be... Yeah, okay. Instead of going against the Rams for that final wildcard spot, it would be against the Eagles, which I can tell you what the easier matchup is, and it is definitely the Rams, so... And I take that back. The Packers need to win and the Commanders need to lose for that to happen. So, yeah, the Packers are absolutely playing for something right now. Again, it's to avoid the Eagles, which you should want to do. I think the Packers are still like a really good team. They're fading a little bit as of recently, but I still believe in the Packers a little bit. The Bears, it's just, again, let's see what Caleb Williams can do. It's just another week of him hopefully having some wow moments and some good plays and whatever, but like this team has just stunk all year. So Packers should win. Packers, again, they might pull guys if they get a big enough lead in that second half, but who knows? Next game up here, Panthers at Falcons. Falcons have a little bit to play for, obviously. They are hoping that the Buccaneers lose. I don't think they're going to, but they hope that the Buccaneers lose, they can win, and then they pass them for the division. I think that's the only... Yeah, no, that's the only way that they can get in. And I don't think that's going to happen. So... These teams are playing at the same time, so the Falcons are technically, they're going to be trying, they're going to be playing hard, but again, it's a what can we see from Michael Penix's game? Because honestly, it's been a lot of very okay to bad moments with a few like, ooh, that's a nice play mixed in there, and with how good I think that the talent is on the Falcons offense, he should look better. Right now, yeah, I'd say he is the worst looking rookie quarterback right now. Again, he's had 2 starts, kind of unfair to put him in that category, but if I had to, I would say he's been the worst rookie QB performer so far. And I should say first round rookie, because there's guys like Spencer Rattler who have gotten in who also haven't looked great, but I digress just a little bit. Panthers on the other side, again, let's just keep seeing nice things from Bryce Young while everyone else out there is a question mark going into this team for next year. And I say that, and I'm not talking about the offensive line, because the offensive line has been incredible for the Panthers this year. But, yeah, this is just basically let's see some things from these young quarterbacks and some of these other young talented players. But other than that, I'm not expecting a whole lot from this game. Next game up here, Saints at Buccaneers. Buccaneers minus 13.5. Total set of 43.5. The Buccaneers, we need to win this one. They win this one, they win the division. They're in the playoffs. So yeah, just needs to happen, obviously. And it will happen because the Saints have been very, very injured the entire season. We get another start of Spencer Rattler. The rest is just, again, the Bucks are so much better, but Mike Evans is 80 something yards away from hitting his 1,000-yard mark for the 11th straight season, at least in the pros anyways. That 1,000-yard mark goes back until high school for him, which is absolutely incredible. But yeah, bet the overs on Mike Evans' yards. I'm pretty sure they'll be around whatever his total is that he needs. I will be betting that over. Definitely. Because he's going to get it. I don't think that there's any world where they don't force feed Mike Evans the ball for him not to get it. So bet the over on his yards, bet the over on his receptions. Mike Evans is hitting that total. 100%. Yeah, the Bucks are going to win this one quite easily. The Saints, again, once all these teams are eliminated and we get into the offseason a little bit, I'm going to start talking about what these teams need to do to hit kind of that next step in their rebuild, or maybe going on a playoff hunt or something. Yeah, we can go from here. Next game up, Commanders -5.5, Cowboys. Commanders at Cowboys, Commanders -5.5, total set of 44.5. Again, I like the Commanders. The Commanders are playing to win, to stay one game ahead of the Cowboys, so they don't have to play the Eagles in the first round. They would much rather play the Rams, because of course they would. So, yeah, and again, the Commanders are the much better team. Dan Quinn revenge game. I mean, I think I did this earlier. We can talk about all the revenge games that the Commanders have, and when they did play them, they did whoop them. Cooper Rush should be the starter for the Cowboys. I know that there's some, like, they gave up that third-round pick for Trey Lance, and they should probably at least see what Trey Lance can do with whoever else is out there. Cooper Rush has some incentive, though, where if he plays 55% of the snaps, he hits like a $250K bonus. I think he's at 52.3% snaps right now. So I don't know if him playing a half is enough to get him to that mark, and then Trey Lance can go in, or vice versa. I don't know. I'd like to see Trey Lance just because I still have some stock in Trey Lance for whatever reason, but the Cowboys should. Again, you spent a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick on Trey Lance to bring him over to this team and to not really start him other than the preseason. Seems a little dumb to me, but whatever. Again, same thing with Jonathan Mingo. You spent a third-round pick on Jonathan Mingo, and did they spend a third-round pick? I keep saying that they spent a third-round pick. That just doesn't sound right. There's no way that they gave up a third-round pick for Jonathan Mingo. That seems absolutely insane to me. Jonathan Mingo trade. Okay, it was a 2025 fourth-round pick. That's just as bad in my opinion. But again, you spent a high day 3 pick on Jonathan Mingo. Get him involved somehow. You don't have CD anymore. Brandon Cooks is old. Just give him, just rest him basically. Let Jonathan Mingo run 70% of the snaps. Again, you spent a fourth-round pick on this dude who didn't show anything his rookie season in Carolina, and decided, it's yeah, we can give up a fourth-round pick for him. Dumb, but what else do you expect from the Cowboys? Again, I expect the Commanders to win, and this line just moved to -6, so we can keep going. Jags at Colts. Colts -5, total set of 43.5. I'm expecting the Colts to play extremely pissed off. After their brutal performance last week against the Giants, I expect this defense to play really, really well. And they just have to focus on Brian Thomas Jr. If you can cover him, which is very hard to do, it's hard to cover a guy who's 6'4", 205 and runs a 4.3. But I do, the Colts should win this one. The Jags absolutely stink. And the Colts aren't good, but they are the better team in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. The Colts should win this one. I expect their defense to play much better. Draft seeding wise, this game has no implications anyways. The Jags fans anyways obviously want them to lose so they can stay in whatever pick that they need. I forget where they're picking right now, but Yeah, I think the Colts are going to win this one. They're just more talented. I think it's as simple as that. We can keep going. I was about to say, another game that absolutely means nothing, but this one technically does. Actually, it doesn't matter. Texans at Titans. Titans -2. Total set at 36.5. D'Amico has been wishy-washy on what the Texans are going to do with their starters. I think he's leaning towards starting them, at least for a little bit, to get the quote-unquote bad taste out of their mouths after these last couple starts that they've had, which is fair, because, yeah, it has not been pretty for them whatsoever. So, yeah, that's the reason why the Titans are favorites. But again, it's unsure how much time these starters are going to get. If they play a half, I would like to think that they'd have enough of a lead to hold on to that and potentially win the game. But this game doesn't matter for them. They're locked in on that 4 seed. So just to get the bad taste out of their mouths, I think that they might play for a few drives, maybe a quarter kind of thing, to get, like, at least they need one good drive down the field, and then I think that they'll get pulled. At least that would be my what I would do anyways. But guys who will be playing once the starters are out, we get Davis Mills back in the mix. Dare Ogunbowale should be their backup running back, and then we get Dameon Pierce back in the mix as well. Trying to look at, they're very thin at wide receiver, so this could be a Deontay Johnson game, which, again, really weird to say. The guy's been a nutcase, but apparently he's this is a team and they're all working, blah, 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 whatever, Deontay. But he should get a lot of reps this game because he just should. I don't know, again, who else is going to, like, Nico's going to sit, but I think that, like, guys like Xavier Hutchinson, John Mechie, and Robert Woods should still be playing. They're very thin. They have a lot of injuries right now. So guys need to sit. I don't know. This isn't going to be a good game, like, at all. And I have no idea who's honestly going to win it. Like, the Titans are playing their starters, but, like, what does that mean? They're not. Again, most of their starters aren't really good, and the Texans are going to be playing some of their starters, but also they'll be out of the game, like, relatively quickly. So we can keep going. Next game up here, Bills at Patriots. Bills -2.5, total set at 38.5. So this line is also really funny to me because the Bills have said that they are benching. They are benching all their starters. Josh Allen will start the game, but that's just to preserve his start streak. So at best, he plays one drive for them, and at worst, he plays one snap, and then in comes Mitch Trubisky and the backups and stuff. But I will be interested to see who actually ends up playing for the Bills. But the fact that the Bills have already said, yeah, we're playing our backups, the fact that the Bills' backups and Mitch Trubisky are still 2.5-point favorites and the Patriots are at home, it's really funny to me. It just simply is, and I don't blame Vegas for putting the odds this way because, yeah, the Bills' backups, a lot of them are better than a lot of the Patriots' starters. Like, I think Keon Coleman will get, like, a lot of reps. I think that he'd be wide receiver 1 on the Patriots. Dawson Knox should get a lot of playing time. I think he's probably on par with whatever Hunter Henry's doing. The offensive lines, again, the Bills' backup offensive line will be comparable to the Patriots' starting offensive line. It's really funny, and you can just kind of keep going down the list, but the fact that the Bills are favorites in this game when the Patriots are at home and the Bills are resting everyone, it just kind of shows you how far the Patriots have fallen off since the Brady-Belichick era. Yeah, Patriots on the other side. Again, you got Drake May, you got Christian Gonzalez. Everyone other than that, I don't care. They are replaceable players at best. Yeah, no, we can move on. That's it. again, the fact that the Bills might win this one. It's really funny. I do need 20 yards from Josh Allen though to hit his overs on passing yards for the season. So I hope that happens, but that'll probably only happen if I get one drive out of him, and I don't even know if I will. But we can keep going. Next game up here: Chiefs at Broncos. Broncos minus 10.5. Total set at 40.5. The Chiefs, like the Bills, are also benching everyone. We get Carson Wentz in at quarterback, which, yeah, I'm excited to see Carson Wentz play. They said that they might also give some reps to, I'll pull up his name because I have no idea who he actually is. It is, he's not even listed on the depth chart because they brought him up from the practice squad. So they might start another QB who I don't remember their name at all. Carson Wentz should get the majority of the snaps, but like the Bills, I like the Chiefs' depth a lot. I think Carson Wentz, again, he had some really good moments in his career, and I think he's still like a capable, solid backup, so I'm interested to see what he can do. At running back, Samaje Perine, Carson Steele, those two will probably split a lot of the carries. For weapons anyways, we all know about Noah Gray. They got Peyton Hendershot, who was a mid-round pick from the Cowboys a couple years ago. Justin Watson, Juju, Mecole Hardman. Like, those guys should all be playing too. They got some good backups on defense. Like, again, I like the Chiefs' depth, but they're going against the Broncos, who are they're playing for a playoff spot, essentially. They lose, and if one of the Dolphins or Bengals win, Broncos are out of playoff spot. So the Broncos are absolutely playing for a win in this one, and they should win. The Broncos' defense is great. They'll be going against a backup offensive line, and I expect Nick Bonito, Zach Allen, Jonathan Cooper, I expect them all to get a lot of pressures and a couple sacks in this one. Like, the Broncos defense is awesome, and I think that what they'll do on offense is just good enough as well. But they're going against Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, who, again, they're not playing for anything. But they're not going to give it to their backup coordinators. They'll be the ones doing what they normally do, and I'm assuming they'll be doing some fuck shit. I'm assuming that the Chiefs will run quite a few deep shots and wow plays when typically they wouldn't normally, but like might as well, because who cares? While the defense, again, all of these guys are playing for their futures and future jobs on different teams potentially, where, I don't know, Spags is really good at what he does. So while I expect the Broncos to win, I think I'm going to be taking Chiefs plus 10.5 just because that coaching advantage is so big, and I do like a lot of the Chiefs' backups, but the Broncos should win this one. Again, I don't expect the Bengals or Dolphins to make the playoffs just because I think that the Broncos should win this one rather easily, in my opinion. Next game up, 49ers at Cardinals. Cardinals minus 4.5. Total set at 42.5. No Brock Purdy for the Niners in this one. We get Josh Dobbs, the Pastronaut, back in this one, and Josh Dobbs in a relief game, at least in one start. He shows the flashes. I mean, even when he came into Purdy to end that game, he did end up with a rushing TD. Josh Dobbs is fun, and I don't expect the Niners to really sit a bunch of people like Ricky Pearsall, Isaac Guerendo, like the young guys. They'll all get their, maybe Debo and Kittle get a little bit less of their normal workload. I have no idea. Same goes to like Bosa and Fred Warner maybe, but the Niners are playing all of their starters, I believe anyways, other than Purdy because he's hurt. And the Cardinals on the other side, they'll also be playing their starters. Also have nothing to play for. This is just a game for pride, essentially, and obviously draft seeding. Cameron really wants to lose this one because if the Niners lose this one, they'd be fourth in the division, which means they have the easiest schedule of that division, and I think that they play the NFC South next year as like one of their divisions, and that looks like a pretty favorable schedule anyways. Yeah, I honestly don't know. Josh Dobbs' revenge game, I guess. Ooh, yeah, I don't like the Cardinals should win, but like I Cardinals plus 4.5. I don't think so. Oh, there's so many close games this week, and I think I've mentioned it before, but my dad and I are doing a like confidence pool where basically each week you rank how confident you are in each team to win. So it's like I'd pick the Ravens, and that would be like my 16 point like game, and then at the bottom it would be a game like I don't even know, like the Texans and Titans for this week, where I don't know how much the Texans starters are really going to play, and blah blah blah, and it's just like every week. And right now we are third, and this is obviously the final week. This is the money week. Yeah, so we are third right now overall out of like 150 people. And we're like 2 points out of first, 1 point out of second. So like it's really close right now, and this is a very hard week to try to think of who's actually going to win. And this is just another one of these tough games where I don't know. Like the Cardinals, again, they should win, but they're not playing great. And I think that this Niners defense would want kind of a bounce back week after getting their shit kicked in. And yeah, they should be able to do it against the James Conner-less Cardinals. Like, I don't know why James Conner would be playing in this one. Oh, he's on IR at this point. So, yeah, no running game from the Cardinals, I would imagine. Yeah, I don't think this is... Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards the Niners. Yeah, God, this is going to be such a tough week to pick games, but we'll keep going here. Dolphins at Jets. Dolphins -1, total set of 38.5. Tua is doubtful in this one. Again, I don't really care. Playoffs, whatever, it's an afterthought at this point. Like, we had many opportunities where we should have been in the mix, and again, things happen. It is what it is, but I still expect the Dolphins to win this game with Tyler Huntley at quarterback. The Jets suck. The Jets have been a absolute shit show the entire year this year. They got talented players, but that has absolutely not mattered at all. Obviously, I mean, there's only so much that you can do for coaching. Rodgers is just a locker room cancer. Players seemingly want out. Sauce Gardner is telling people that, like, no, they don't want to play for the Jets. I would like to think that the Dolphins were going to win this one. I don't think it matters at the end of the day, but again, I don't think that the Dolphins lose this game even with Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback. We should be good enough. We should be good enough to come away with this win, but I don't think it really matters. The Jets, what are they playing for? Rodgers is one passing touchdown away from his 500th. I think they'd have a better chance if they started Tyrod Taylor, but yeah, other than that, I have no idea. Seahawks at Rams. Rams -6.5, or Seahawks -6.5. Total set of 38.5. Again, another instance of the Rams playing their backup. So no Stafford, no Cooper Kupp, no Puka Nacua, no Kyron Williams. This should be a Blake Corum game. So excited to see what he can do. Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, like those guys will be playing. Their defense is going to absolutely stink if they're pulling all of their young starters. So the Seahawks should win this one with relative ease. The Seahawks are playing for nothing also, but ending the season with a win would be nice. Ending it with 10 wins on the season would be a nice consolation prize, I guess, for the Seahawks. But yeah, Rams starting Jimmy G, throwing the Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington. Not a lot of hope. Not a lot of hope at all. Seahawks should win. Seahawks should win easily, but I don't know. We should move on. The Rams got nothing to play for. Next game up here, Chargers at Raiders. Chargers -4, total set at 41.5. This game might mean something for the Chargers. And the only reason it might is because if the Steelers do beat the Bengals on Saturday night, then the Chargers can't pass them for that for that first wild card spot to play the Texans. So they should be comfortable. I think that would mean they're locked in to that 6th seed where they would play the Ravens. So Chargers could be playing for something. They could also might not be playing for something, and we'll find out after Saturday. So this line will probably switch between now and Sunday, but I would think that the Chargers would win this one regardless. I don't know. The Chargers' backups kind of stink. And even then, I don't know if Jim Harbaugh will actually rest his starters because he's just kind of that type of coach. And he's like, no, we're just going to keep playing. Where, again, don't tell Chargers fans, but the playoffs don't really matter for them anyways. I don't know. They're a great story this year. Everything went the right way that could have went wrong. Chargers are great. They should be absolutely thrilled they're in the playoffs, but you might as well just finish out this one, win this one, go to the playoffs. Again, they might have something to play for, but I don't think that they will. Well, again, we'll find out after Saturday night, but Chargers should win this one. But if they do decide to rest the starters, I think that the Raiders should be good enough to beat the Chargers' backups, but who fucking knows? And finally, the best game of the week by far, the one with the most not draft implications, but the one with the most playoff implications. Vikings at Lions. Lions -3. Total set at 56.5. That total is just, first of all, that total. 56.5 is absolutely crazy. But we have seen the Lions can't stop anyone right now. And the only way that the Lions win games is if they score at will. Jared Goff, in their one previous matchup, absolutely diced up this Vikings defense. And I'm just going to go back. It was 31-29 in that one. So the Vikings did keep it close. And that was still with most of the Lions defense intact. But this was one of the games at Goff. 22 of 25, 280 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. Yeah, the rushing attack was absolutely clicking. So the Vikings defense is still going against the Lions offense, and the Lions offense can put up 30 against just about anyone. But that defense is so bad. That defense is literally so bad, and yeah, I would say that the Vikings offense is better than what the Niners were doing last week. And the Niners, again, they scored at will. The only time that they didn't score is when Brock Purdy threw interceptions or their kicker missed kicks. That's it. God, I think I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one. I don't know. The Lions at home, again, it's such a big thing. These teams are playing for the NFC 1 seed. The team that wins this gets that bye, which for the Lions, that's so important for getting maybe some players back healthy before the divisional round. But I don't know. It's going to be a really tough one to call. I don't see how the Lions can get any pressure. The Vikings offense is just awesome anyways. I don't know. This is a really tough call. I think I'm leaning the Vikings, though. I honestly thought that the Vikings would be favored in this one, like maybe Vikings -1 or something like that. But the fact that it's Lions -3 is... I'm a little confused by it. I think the Vikings are just going to score. Again, they're going to score at will. I have no faith in what the Lions defense does. And I like the Lions secondary. They got some good players back there. They have some great players back there. But that front seven is just terrible. Absolutely terrible right now. So I think I'm going to have to lean the Vikings. I don't like it, but I think I'm going to have to lean the Vikings. So yeah, that does it for the final preview of the season. Good episode. Fairly long. We're going to hit that hour mark or close to that hour mark. But yeah, I didn't really say it on Wednesday's show because at the time it still wasn't the New Year's. But yeah, New Year, another season of podcasting done. It was another good one. I basically doubled my followers on TikTok, which is nice, but now TikTok's getting banned in the US, so I don't know how that's going to get affected. No, it's been good. It's again, it's another year. I feel like I'm getting better at it every time I sit down to record. There's I have better plans for the off season because again, it's hard to plan off season shows, and I think I'm going to do some more fun things in the off season than just kind of sit around and talk about whatever. Yeah, 2025 is going to be a good year. 2024 kicked my ass a little bit. Still a great year, but definitely kicked my ass. 2025 is going to be a good one. Still have to go to Sudbury at some point this year, and that's not fun. I'm still hoping that Cam's bachelor party ends up at his family's cottage, but who knows? I will end it here then. If you have liked this, please like, share, retweet, subscribe, tell all your friends, and until next time, peace.